How to negotiate with the IRS to reduce your taxes. You might think negotiating with the IRS is a little like negotiating with the mob. They've got all the leverage, and if you get it wrong, the consequences to you could be disastrous. The IRS will not send a hitman after you, but they are definitely calling the shots. That means they're going to want to see all of your cards before they negotiate with you. That means providing them with detailed information about your income, your spending habits, your assets, and any equity you might have in investments. To put yourself in the best negotiating position with the IRS, it's important, first of all, to file your taxes, even if you're unable to pay them. Filing your taxes is a legal obligation that you shouldn't avoid, even if you can't pay the full amount owed, or even if you can't pay anything at all. The IRS will penalize you if you don't file your taxes on time or if you don't pay the full amount of taxes owed. But, the penalty for not filing your taxes is usually bigger than the penalty for not paying them. So, even if you can't pay the full amount owed, you should still file your taxes to avoid the higher penalty. The IRS charges interest on any unpaid taxes. But, just by filing your taxes, you can protect against the worst interest charging scenario by showing the IRS your willingness to pay. If you don't file your taxes, you could get slammed with higher interest charges, making it even more difficult to pay your taxes in the future. Filing your taxes also gives you the benefit that you may become eligible for a payment plan, so you can pay the taxes you owe, over time. The IRS may also consider reducing the amount owed if you're experiencing financial hardship. Filing taxes demonstrates your willingness to follow tax laws and regulations. If you don't file your taxes, it's like poking a hornet's nest. You're practically asking the IRS to look closer at how you've paid your taxes, or not paid your taxes. It may also result in more severe consequences to you. As a taxpayer, it's important to understand your options, and for that reason it's important to talk to a tax expert and get professional guidance, especially if you're not able to pay your taxes. Here's one thing to consider. Did you know you can ask the IRS to temporarily postpone collection until your financial situation improves? The downside is that the IRS will want to charge you interest and penalties for making them wait for your payment. A cheaper option might be negotiating for an installment agreement, if you owe less than $50,000 in tax debt. The IRS may agree to a payment plan for you to pay off your tax debt. Your best negotiating tactics are as follows. 1. To let the IRS know you'll pay off the debt within 3 years. Or, at the most, within 6 years. 2. Offer as high of a monthly payment as you can. The IRS is going to compare the payment amount you offer with the amount they could get if they garner your wages. The IRS rejects more than half of all offers, so if your offer is too low, it probably won't fly. 3. Follow the IRS guidelines. The IRS will not expect you to make payments that cut into your household expenses. 4. Once the IRS agrees to a payment plan, make sure you make your payments on time. Otherwise, the IRS could take assets you own, including bank accounts. They could put a lien on your home. They could take any tax refund you receive and even take a percentage of your Social Security income. If you can prove that you are unable to pay off your tax debts without financial hardship, you may be able to negotiate an offer in compromise. If the IRS agrees with your offer, you may be able to settle for a small fraction of your debt. First, you need to make sure all of your tax filings are up to date. If you're missing any, you'll need to file the missing ones. When you do make an offer, you should include at least a 20% down payment on your offer. If your offer is accepted, then you can pay the rest, or work out a payment plan. You may be able to get a low offer accepted, but you'll have to provide financial records to convince the IRS that this is the best you can do. Any assets you own will also need to be added into your offer to the IRS. This process can be complicated, and may feel overwhelming. But, it's worth the effort if it helps you get your life back. To give yourself the best chance of getting tax debt relief, you should get your questions answered by a tax expert before you go to the IRS. It's also a good idea to get legal help for any negotiations with the IRS.
To get help with your IRS tax problems and tax questions, please talk to a qualified tax expert. You can work with a CPA, or other tax professional, where you live. Or, if you'd like to get answers to your questions quickly, about your own taxes, you can chat online now with a qualified tax expert. Just click on the link in the comments below this video.